Vault Hunters, we've got a fresh Borderlands 4 update this week, and while it's a smaller patch compared to last week's overhaul, it brings some big buffs to legendary weapons, tweaks to pets and class abilities, and gives us a new boss to hunt in this week's big encore. This week's update is all about buffing the underused legendary weapons, especially all the legendary pistols, so let's go over the buffs. Ruby's Grasp gets a 50% damage boost and 25% fire rate. Bully Drone and Bully base damage, both up by 50%. Rangefinder gets a 30% base damage increase. Queen's Rest sees a spawning chance increase from 30% to 50%, and a 50% boost to fire rate. Talking about the spawn chance increase, I'm not too certain how that's going to play because we really don't even know the spawn chances for loot yet. Moving on, the 7th Seraph gets a jaw-dropping 250% orb damage. And of course, the fan favorite Hellwalker gets a 30% base damage increase. Now, with the elemental change a couple weeks ago and the 30% base damage increase, this should definitely put the Hellwalker in line to compete with the Hot Slugger. And finally, the 20% base damage increase to the conversions. We can now probably expect to see some of these weapons in in-game builds. Gearbox is clearly doubling down on underperforming weapons and listening to the community. And this isn't even going to be the end of all the weapon buffs we receive. Also in this patch, a few important bug fixes and some adjustments. The TDR Shotgun Anarchy now correctly awards Mutalism stacks when you auto-reload or kill. All class pets like Trouble, Spectres, Reapers, and Forge weapons now properly gain crit chance from passives and gear. I actually didn't know that was an issue. Glad it's fixed. And Vex's Bleed now counts as a status effect, so this was fixed from last week's update. However, it looks like Vex's Bleed builds next week are getting nerfed either way, so we'll have to see how this holds up after next week's update. Now let's talk about this week's rotating activities because there's plenty of loot to chase. Moxie's big encore boss of the week is Directive Zero, hiding in the Iron Wall Resolve Order bunker, located in the Terminus Range district. The dedicated drops are the Whiskey Foxtrot, Bonnie and Clyde, and Rowan's Charge. These are all assault rifles, so any of you guys chasing Phosphines, now's the time to get them because that's 3 weapons you can easily knock out within a day or so. This week's wildcard mission is Null and Void. The modifiers are Invisible, Leaking, and Chromatic. The legendary weapon reward at the end of this mission is the Phantom Flame Jacob's Pistol. And Maurice's Black Market is located here in the Carcadia district of Dominion City. Remember, he has a different inventory for every single person. Gearbox also teased what's coming next week, and it sounds like another big patch is on the horizon. Next week's update will focus on buffing class mods, rev kits, shields, and firmware to improve melee viability, fixing unintended skill interactions, meaning there's going to be nerfs to a lot of Vault Hunter skills right now, including Vex's Bleed, as well as interactions with other Vault Hunters that are not intended. Even the creative director of Borderlands 4, Graham, posted saying, small update this week, but a larger one next week. There will be some changes next week to specific gear and those intended interactions. This is your 7 days notice. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of changes next week. So we're looking forward to that. Well, that's everything this week's Borderlands 4 update. What do you think of the buffs and what gear are you testing out first? Or are you going to go hunt for those 3 Phosphines? And if you found this helpful, give it a like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a weekly update from Borderlands 4.